It's just Bruce, he don't bite. Hello.
Hey folks, welcome back to my kitchen. My name's Bruce. Today we're going to make some beef Wellington. It's going to be yummy. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day, and my wife had asked me, I told her, I said, what do you want for dinner? Because we don't like to go out, we don't like to fight the crowds. I said, I'll cook you whatever you want. And she says, I want some beef Wellington. I'm like, okay. She's like, yeah, we haven't had it for a while. I'm like, yeah, I guess we haven't. So I looked at my Facebook, and I went back to the last time I made it, because I'm the guy that posts his food all the time. It's been 11 years. And there should be a picture of it right here. Here, I pointed right. This is the one I made 11 years ago. And now you see there's two of them, because I actually made a big dinner for the family. The one on the bottom was about 4 pounds of beef tenderloin, and the one on the top is about 3 pounds. So 7 pounds total of beef tenderloin. It was about $7.99 a pound whenever I bought it back then, which it added up to, what's 9 times 7? Is 63? Something like that? Yeah, 63. So about 63 bucks for the meat, for 7 pounds of meat, and of course the rest of it. So you figure it cost me about $70, $75 to make that dinner. On average, I'm just thinking. So, okay, I'm like, yeah, no problem. So, and then of course I had announced earlier that I was going to do a video on it. So I go to the store, same place I bought the ingredients last time, grocery store. I go back to the butcher and trying to get a nice tenderloin. $28.99 a pound. I'm like, wow. Wow, I just can't believe it. When I know with everything that's going on right now, all the prices are going up. I just thought that was a ridiculous price. So I'm like, all right, it's Valentine's Day. It's my wife. I love her. Let's go for it. So he grabs a tenderloin that I picked, and he put it up there. It was about 4 pounds. Puts it on a scale, and I see over $100 just for this piece of meat that was about this big. And I was like, because this isn't really good reheated. So I'm like, I really didn't want to do it. I'm like, well, maybe I can cut a couple fillets off of it and shrink it down. You know, it wasn't really a money thing. It was just the fact that I don't like to have leftovers of stuff that doesn't reheat well. So I'm like, all right, we'll just put it back for now. I was thinking, and I'm like, wait a minute. So I went and I got 2 nice big fillets. So what we're going to do today with the beef Wellington is going to be little single portions of beef Wellington, one for me, one for my wife, for Valentine's Day. It does take 2 days to make this properly. And a lot of people are thinking, oh, well, there's steps I can skip. I can do this. I can do that. Please, if you're going to make this the first time the way I'm doing it, don't skip the steps. Leave the stuff sit in the refrigerator overnight like I'm going to tell you. Just follow it. And then after you make it the first time, if you see something you want to change, go right ahead. But this way works. It's the best way to keep your puff pastry from getting soggy. It's going to get soggy a little bit no matter what. I don't care who you are. I've never seen a beef Wellington that didn't have a crust that got a little tiny bit soggy at certain places. So if you do try to make this, don't worry about that. It's still going to be good. It's still going to taste the same. A lot of people are intimidated by beef Wellington. Don't be. It's easy. It's just a little time consuming. Just a little time consuming. As you're going to see, I'm going to take you step by step what I'm going to do. Right now we're going to do the prep work and get the stuff ready. We're going to put the refrigerator to sit overnight. And then tomorrow I'm going to pull it out and show you how to finish it. It's all going to be in this video, so you won't know the difference. But I just thought I'd let you know. Little time consuming. Little time today it's going to take me. Put it in the refrigerator, go about my business. Tomorrow morning, afternoon, whenever I decide to cook it, we'll throw it together and you'll see for yourself. So anyway, enjoy the video. Please like and share. Leave a comment in the bottom. Any questions, any suggestions, let me know. Like I said, there's reasons I'm doing most of it. It's kind of technical, but anybody can do this. I can teach a beginner cooker how to do this. Beginner cooker? Who says that? A beginning cook how to do it. Alright guys, let's get into it right now. Okay, we're going to start here with the first step, which I've actually already done the first step. And the first step is to get your mushrooms and onions all chopped up. Now you can do these by hand. I ran these through a food processor. You want it to be very, very fine. And the mushrooms you use are up to you. You can use any kind of mushrooms you can get your hands on. These are just the regular standard white mushrooms you see at the grocery store. And this is 12 ounces of, this is a 12-ounce pack of mushrooms. Onion, you can use onions or shallots. They didn't have shallots at the store, so I had to go with a yellow onion. I wouldn't use a white onion. Always stick with a yellow one if you can't do the shallots because they're a little sweeter. This is 1 medium onion, which is equal to about 3 shallots if you're going to use the shallots. You don't really have to worry about making too much of this because anything left over when we're done, You can put on chicken. You can have a piece of grilled chicken and put this on top of it. You can stuff the chicken with what we're going to make here. And by the way, what we're working on first is, well, first we're going to sear our meat, and then we're going to make what's called a doxel, a mushroom doxel with this stuff here. So I got my mushrooms and onions are chopped up. I got 5 cloves of garlic, grated up too. If you don't have a food processor, you can cut it by hand, or you can get the stuff that already comes pre-grated. This is some ham. Just regular ham. I ground it up. I like to put just a little bit of ham in my duxelle, just for some flavor. I got some Dijon mustard right here, salt and pepper, and these are 2 really nice fillets I picked up at the store. As I explained in the beginning of the video, why were you doing it this way? This, surprisingly, why this is in the ingredient section, you have to have plastic wrap. If you don't have plastic wrap, your prep, it's just not going to work. You're not going to be able to make an effective Wellington without plastic wrap, because this takes quite a bit of time to do. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to sear our beef. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Okay, we're going to take some paper towels and we're going to dry off our fillets as best we can, because in order to sear these in our pan, we want our surface to be as dry as possible. And yes, I guess it might be a little bit gross. Let's get a plate for these. So I'm just going to pat that dry with a paper towel. Set that there. Get another paper towel for the second one. If you have wetness on your cut of meat, it's not going to sear properly. So it's just like that, and you can see the moisture is coming out on my towel, and it's getting nice and dry. And yes, I washed my hands. In fact, I'm going to wash my hands here again before I touch my spices. So now we are ready to. It's a little salt. Actually, be generous with the salt. Same with the pepper. And just season all over it. And then we are going to flip them like so. A little more pepper. Sounds like a lot of pepper, but the shaker's starting to give out on me. But it's enough. You want to get them all coated everywhere. Then take them, get them on the sides and what's left on the plate, best you can. And that is a good seasoned fillet right there. Pick up the rest of my seasonings. And now we are ready to put these in a preheated skillet to sear them off. Okay, as my pan's heating up, I want to give you something to think about, because this is kind of important. This is a little bit of canola oil. You can use olive oil, you can use any kind of oil you want. It's about 1.5 tablespoons. And we want to get that real nice and hot so we get a good sear in these meats. So it's important to have your pan hot before you start. Now, the important thing I wanted to mention was, this is where you have to decide, how done do I want my beef Wellington? A traditional beef Wellington is medium rare in the middle when you cut it open. Now this means nice, you know, almost pink, almost red, right in the center, and then cooked around the edges. Now, if that's not done enough for you, here is where you can sear this a little longer to get yourself up to a medium. If some people prefer a medium. Anything higher than medium, though, it's not worth doing. You're just going to waste a fillet, in my opinion. And if you want it well done, well, you're watching the wrong video. So, still waiting for this to get nice and heated up. But like I said, I'm going to make this a medium rare. So I'm going to sear these each for about 1.5 minutes on each side. And I'm going to teach you how to do that right now. As soon as I find my tongs. Here we go. Now, this is my favorite noise. If you hear this noise, you know you're doing it right. Listen carefully. There it is. So yeah, I'm going to sear this for 1.5 minutes on each side. See, this little piece came loose. So, it happens on these blades. This one, actually, I'm just going to tear this off. It'll come off eventually. I could put that back on, but, you know, I haven't had lunch yet. You don't want to let these move. Just set them there and leave them. You don't push them around the pan. You can move your pan to get your oil to go touch the meat more. As you can see, my stove's a little bit off center. So I'm moving it to go let the oil touch the meat a little better. I'm going to do the one side, then I'm going to fast forward where I'm doing the second side so this video doesn't take forever. Because I want to show you what the sear should look like when I pick it up. This piece doesn't matter. We're gonna eat that over the sink. Did you know, if you're trying to lose weight, any food you eat over the sink while cooking doesn't count? Yeah, I learned that from a chef a long time ago. Of course, he weighed like 450 pounds. I don't trust a skinny chef anyway. So we're going to do this about a minute. We're going to hide this piece. I'm going to eat this for lunch. We're not telling my wife. Okay, let's see what kind of a sear we got here. Hopefully I'm not rushing it. Perfect. That's what you're looking for. Can you see that? That is what you're looking for. A nice perfect sear. I'm going to flip that. Do the same on the other side. Also, when you flip them, go to a different area of your pan if you're able to. Now I'll fast forward through this part. Okay, that was a minute and a half on that side. And as you can see, we have an equal sear. But we're not done yet. Turn them on their side. We want to sear every surface we can find. Now this doesn't have to be a minute and a half. You just want to turn on the side for a few seconds. Have every area touch your hot skillet. Only for a few seconds. See, it's not hard. This one's done. Let's put it on my holding plate. This guy's coming along too. Beautiful. That's what you want. Beautifully seared meat. I just killed the heat on the skillet. Let that cool down. Now to the next step for the beef. Okay. As soon as you get the meat out of your skillet, and it's got a nice sear on it, we are going to put this Dijon mustard on it. Be pretty liberal about it. Get it covered nice and evenly. That's why I like these silicone brushes. Don't go right from your jar because you go cross-contaminating the rest of the mustard and then get everybody sick when they eat their hot dogs or whatever they use their Dijon pour. I pour something in a little container like this. Generally put your mustard on it. It makes a mess. It might make a mess. Who knows? But it depends if you're like me or not. You want to cover the whole thing with your Dijon mustard. If you can find it, you should be using English mustard. But it's so hard to find in this area. Dijon mustard works too. I wouldn't go using yellow mustard or any other cheaper ones. It's just not worth it. So after you get it covered in the mustard, over to your plastic wrap. And we're going to wrap it as tight as we can. Going to wrap that as tight as we can. I need to get some more plastic wrap. Hold on. Piece of plastic wrap. And I'll just wash my hands. Wrap this guy up. I'm going to take this mustard. Go ahead and just keep it in there. Wrap it up as tight as, well, I overestimated the plastic wrap on that one, but it'll still work. Wrap it up as tight as you can, little baseballs. Now, like I said, my steps are very important. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator overnight. Not for a couple hours, overnight. I want it to get hard, or stiffer again, so it'll be easier to work with. If I were to go ahead and proceed with these cuts of meat now, they're going to make my puff pastry completely soggy. It's not going to come out. That's why this recipe takes 2 days to make. So we're going to pop these in the refrigerator overnight, and on to the next prep step that we can do today. Now we are back to our iron skillet. Same skillet I used to sear off the beef. I did take some of the oil out of it with a paper towel, after it cooled down, of course. We're on a cool skillet right now. I let it cool down completely. And there's a reason for that. I want to get a slow heat on this. We're going to sweat out these mushrooms and these onions, and the rest of our stuff's going to go in there too. So I'm going to turn my heat on and add my mushrooms. Now you'll see, you look at all these mushrooms, how much you see. Watch how much they shrink down, because what we're going to do, we are cooking the moisture out of them. Add my onions. Same thing. A lot of moisture in there. We want to get rid of it. We don't want that inside our puff pastry because it will make us soggy. Now at this point I'm not adding salt. Normally I would, especially for the onions. But for the mushrooms, I want them to give off their natural moisture. This takes about 8 minutes to do, so I will be skipping through it. I have my heat on medium high, and it's slowly starting to heat up that skillet, as you can hear. The only thing I haven't put in yet is my garlic and my ham. The ham will be the last thing we put in there because it's already cooked. Yeah, the object of this is to get all the moisture out without burning it, so you got to stir it quite often. As you can see now, the moisture is starting to come out of those mushrooms and boiling away. That's what we want. Without burning them, I want to get all that water out of there. Coming along nicely. Okay, looks like I've gotten like almost all the moisture cooked off without burning my mushrooms. Now's when I want to add my garlic. So there's my garlic and my ham. Like I said, the ham's already cooked. Now of course the garlic is not cooked, but it's very easy to burn garlic. So a good rule of thumb when you're cooking like this with garlic, keep stirring it. And when you start smelling that garlic aroma coming from your dish, then you know it's ready. It's not burnt, it's cooked through. It doesn't take much to cook grated garlic. As far as the ham, I'm not much worried about it. It has already been cooked. I just want to keep this stuff from burning at this point. Okay, I'm starting to smell the garlic now, which means it is practically done. I'm going to give it another 30 seconds and we'll pull it off. That looks good to me. That looks really good. All the moisture's out of there. I can smell my garlic. I do want to put some salt and pepper in there right now, though. So I leave that for last. A little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. Turning the heat off. Just one last little stir. Mix that salt and pepper in there. Now you see how much that shrunk. You can see it was a big pan full and it's down to this little bit of paste, which is fine. Now we're going to put this on this tray here. Get all the goodness out of there. Love this pan. I love using the cast iron pan to do stuff like this because it heats evenly so you don't get hot spots. That's why this stuff came out so nice. Now, just like my egg roll stuff, I'm going to spread this out evenly. Well, it doesn't have to be evenly, just spread out enough. And I'm going to throw this in the refrigerator overnight. So tomorrow when I go back to doing the Wellingtons and we assemble them and we bake them, this will be ready to go. So will the beef that we seared off. and I'll show you what to do after that. Like I said, nothing too hard so far. Okay, it's been overnight, and I pulled out the stuff we were working on. Now we're going to do the next step, which is to wrap it in prosciutto. I love prosciutto. It's a little pricey, but I mean, if you're making Beef Wellington, you might as well go all out and get the good stuff, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to layer these on a piece of plastic. Like I said, you need a lot of plastic wrap to do this. Sometimes they tear. This one just tore. I don't know if I can use this or not. Might have to go in my belly. Yeah, I guess we'll put that there for a snack for me. See, they come packed like this between these pieces of parchment paper, so that doesn't happen. Sometimes, if they're too cold, they stick, and if they're too warm, they fall apart. I'm having a little bit of both on this one. So we're going to peel that apart, single slices. It's a little tedious, I'm not going to lie, it's a little tedious. But I want to set down, looks like I'm going to use 4 pieces for one. And yeah, it's being a little tricky here for me, so all you can do is be patient, and you get a little extra in case you mess up. So there, I got 4 layered down, and I'm going to take one of my filets, which is nice and cold from being in the fridge. We're going to unwrap this, trying not to get mustard on my hands. Sometimes, oh, you know what? I forgot a small step. I want to take some of our mushroom stuff, our doxel, because this is going to cover it. I'm going to put a daub right in the middle, because that's where we're going to put our fillet on top of that. Now I can go ahead and put the fillet on top of that. And like I said, I'm trying not to make a mess here, but I'm afraid it might be inevitable. There's my fillet on top of my first little bit of doxel. Put that in the garbage. Take some more doxel. I'm going to divide my doxel in half here that we have from yesterday. We want to cover the whole thing with the doxel. So get some on the top. I'm going to put some on the side here. Now you understand why it's important to have this cold so it packs easier. So that's my doxel. And it looks like I underestimated how much prosciutto I need. So I'm going to add some prosciutto to that. If I can get it to peel apart correctly. Doo-doo-doo. Like I said, you have to be very careful with the prosciutto so you don't rip it. Someone said to me, well, why don't you just use bacon? And first of all, I was like, I like the way you think, but bacon would not work because it's too fatty, and when we bake this, it wouldn't render properly. So there we go with that, and we want to roll this up. But looking at it, I've never done this with just a single fillet before, so I want to try and make sure this works. So I can get that there. I'm going to roll this back because I want a seam right there. I'm going to roll this up. Ooh, and it's just not quite going to make it. I need another piece of prosciutto. Careful. Well, I hope I have enough prosciutto for the other one. I might not. I might have to go back to the store. Wait, I know what to do. We'll save that for the next one. And this little piece that I screwed up, I'll put it here and no one will know. Yeah, that'll work. I will put it here, right where I need it. And then I can roll this. And you see, I'm going to tighten it down. I'm just going to get the plastic out of the way for where it's going to touch. and I'm going to roll it nice and as tight as I can. As tight as I can. And we're going to make a little football out of it. As tight as I can, that's one. I will go ahead and do the other one. I'll just skip through that real quick so you can watch me do it over again, and then we'll put them in the refrigerator. Okay, there I go. 2 little footballs. Now, I don't know if you noticed when I did this second one or not, but I did actually run out of prosciutto. I come up about 2 pieces short. So what I did is I went and got a piece of that ham that I had put in the doxel, and I use that as a bandage. I'm going to eat this one. I'll make sure she gets the good one, but I'm not going to run out to get more prosciutto at this time. So now I'm going to throw this back in the refrigerator for about 2 hours. And then we do the final wrapping and baking. So we're getting there. Okay, our little footballs here have been in the refrigerator for a little while, enough to get nice and cool. And when you pick it up, you'll notice they got firm for us. So it makes it easier for us to roll them in our puff pastry, which is what you see there on the table. So it's going to take us, reform it into our little ball here. Set it in the middle of the puff pastry. Puff pastry should be thawed out, not quite room temperature, but you don't want it too cold where you can't stretch it, because you can stretch this. And that is what we're doing. And I'm going to put this upside down. I don't know if I mentioned it in the last section, but I actually ran out of prosciutto, so I used a little slice of ham on the bottom to seal the rest of it. And this is going to be the one that's not the best, so I'm going to make sure I get that one so my wife gets the good one. Yeah, that's why we're doing this first too, in case I mess it up. This is egg, just an egg wash. It's a beat up egg with just a titch of water in there, and we're just going to go around the edges. You don't need a lot, but that's just going to help us seal it. And I'm going to go around the entire edge here. This is a little new to me. I'm used to doing the full-size Wellingtons, but since I couldn't get that meat, we're doing it this way. But I think it'll work out just fine. And we're going to go corner in, just like you're putting on a diaper maybe, huh? Well, it's been so long since I put a diaper on a kid, I don't remember. Corner in. These things here, we're going to pinch them together. And I know you're thinking that looks weird, Bruce. And it does, but let me show you what we're going to do. We're pinching it, making sure it's nice and sealed there. All 4. Then we're just going to cut off the extra with some pastry scissors. Just like that. Like that. And the 4th one. And you can actually put these in on your pan with the beef Wellington, and you can cook these and have little crunchies to eat with your Wellington if you want. So there now, it's all nice and tucked in. Make sure everything's sealed. Make another football out of it. And we are going to wrap that in saran wrap, plastic wrap, whatever you want to call it. Once again, checking my seals. I see this one came undone. Might have cut it a little too close, but we're going to be okay just the same. We're going to wrap this up nice and tight, and we're going to put that in the refrigerator for about 20 minutes. And it's been about a half an hour. I had these in the refrigerator, and like I said, whenever you take them out of the refrigerator, you'll notice that they will feel a lot more firmer than when you put them in, which is the whole idea of doing that. So let's unwrap them. You can use a baking sheet with parchment paper on it. In this case, I got this copper chef grill pan, which is nice. It's non-stick, and I've never used it doing this before, so I'm kind of anxious to see what will happen. But there's my 2 little footballs. And what I have here is just some egg yolks. Just egg yolks. Separate the eggs. Don't use the whites. And we're going to brush that all over our Wellingtons. Some chefs like to get all fancy and they'll put carvings in the top. I'm not going to bother doing that today. I do have a little surprise because it is for Valentine's Day. But yeah, just spread your egg yolks all over the Wellingtons. It can be a little messy, that's okay, it won't hurt nothing. Cover everything. It's just going to be a nice glaze on here when we're done. You don't have to do the bottom. We get the sides real well. And that's that. And then we are going to take some sea salt, or any coarse salt will do. And you want to salt the outside of it. That'll give us a really nice, shiny looking glaze when we're done. I don't know if you can see the salt on there, but I put up a good amount on there. Now, just to be fancy, because it's Valentine's Day, I took some of the extra filet dough and I made these little hearts. See, I'm so romantic. I'm going to put that right on there to decorate it a little bit. Maybe put a smile on her face. A little egg wash on top of that too. And you can do any kind of decorations you want with the leftover pastry dough if you want. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to put this in the oven at 400 degrees. And at this moment I'm estimating it's going to be about 30 minutes. I'll tell you what the actual time is whenever they're done. But that gives me time to make my sides, which is going to be some mashed potatoes and maybe some kind of vegetable. I'm not quite sure yet. So, into the oven at 400 degrees it goes. Okay, there we have it. 30 minutes later. Exactly 30 minutes actually. I pulled it out. I reached an internal temperature of 155 degrees, which is exactly what I wanted. That's a good medium rare. And after you pull it out, make sure you let it rest for about 5 minutes. Rest for about 5 minutes before you cut into it. And we're going to cut into this one here, the one that's mine, to see if it's messed up. Yeah, you can tell I have confidence in myself. Get a nice sharp knife. Maybe you can hear this crunch. So far so good. It's going through nice and smooth. And there it is. That's almost a perfect medium rare. Maybe it could have gone a few more minutes, but that's going to be good. That is going to be good. So that's about it, folks. As you can see, I didn't get the taste test on camera. Once I made it and made the sides to go with it, we had some mashed potatoes, some roasted garlic potatoes with cheese in it. And, oh, we got so excited we ended up eating our dinner and I forgot to do the taste test on video. So that's about all you get. But anyway, it's easy to make. Don't be intimidated. If you want to make something like this, just follow my directions. It came out great. It tasted good. I couldn't be happier. She loved it. And well, that's about it. Anyway, like and share if you don't mind. And happy Valentine's Day.
I reckon Mr. Bruce got it right this time. He's not such a dumbass.